Before starting the installation, you're going to want to grab the tools that you're going to need. Here's a look at some of the ones we plan to use. We've got our instruction sheet to start with. We've got a box cutter in case we need to trim a hose. We've got a couple sizes of ratchets, extensions, and a 12mm and a 10mm socket. We've got a set of hose pliers, got a slotted screwdriver, and then we've got 3 combination wrenches, size 19mm, 13mm, and 12mm. We've got 2 Allen keys, one 3mm and one 5mm. And if you'd like to make the process a little bit easier, we find that using a 10mm socket on a universal joint with a little bit longer extension can really help get those hard to reach places. Now that you've seen the tools, let's get started on the installation. To start with, we're going to remove the top mount intercooler and this wiring harness connected to the passenger side strut tower. Next, you'll want to relocate the main wiring harness and this smaller one under the power steering bracket to provide clearance. Next, we're going to remove the OEM hoses and anything that may be blocking access to those hoses. Next, I'm going to remove the throttle body so that I can gain access to the port connected to the bottom of the intake manifold. Now that we've removed the throttle body and moved it out of the way, we gain access to the bottom fitting that needs to be plugged. We're going to use a 19mm wrench to unscrew that from the intake manifold. Now that the factory fitting with the hose barb is removed, you're going to want to install the plugs supplied in our complete kit. Use your choice of thread sealant on the threads before application. With the throttle body reinstalled, we're going to go ahead and install our mounting bracket on the passenger side strut tower. Now that we've got the bracket installed on the strut tower, it's time to mount the air oil separator to the bracket. We've pre-installed the hoses to make things a little easier according to the diagram. This is where you want to pay close attention when you assemble it yourself, since they're different lengths and diameters. Now that the air oil separator is mounted to the bracket, we're going to go ahead and route our hoses and attach them to the appropriate ports. So the top hose is going to go to the turbo inlet. Next, we'll connect the short piece to the T-fitting. We'll connect the drain to the 90-degree section of the T-fitting, and then we'll put that on the crankcase vent. The bottom hose is going to go to the crankcase port. The shorter hose is going to come over to the passenger side head port. And the longer hose to the driver's side head port. Now, using the cap that's supplied in our complete kit, you're going to want to put that over the end of this white connector and plug it back in where we disconnected it from the PCV system earlier. For this front connector, you have a couple options. You can either use a cap to put over the end of this connection and plug it in, or you can take this metal jumper out of the original plug, insert it here into the harness, and then coat this with black electrical tape and tuck it out of the way. Now that we've got all the hoses installed, clamps tightened, and factory clips back in place, the only thing left to do is reinstall the top mount intercooler. And with the intercooler back in place, you've just completed the installation of the Killer Bee Motorsport air oil separator. You'll want to go ahead and start your car and look around for any leaks in case you might have missed tightening hose clamp. If you have any questions after watching this video, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We hope you found this informative and helpful.